Finally locked you down.
Yep, we finally got it sorted, mate. It's taken a little while.
You've had a pretty busy season already, eh?
Yeah, yep. Started off with a bang having Carl here, and yeah, it's been busy ever since.
What was he like to fish? Because he hadn't chased cod before, hey?
Oh, I had a bit, like up in Queensland, but not down here, so it was slightly different, and that was like before all the live tech, and he hadn't seen Mulwala or Eildon, so it is a bit different to what he was used to, but yeah, he went well. He did it pretty easy. He's got a few skills under his belt.
I'd say so, especially on like live and active target and whatever.
Yeah, he hadn't chased a cod on it before, so that was like new for him. So yeah, we just did a few different things for him and got him going, like because he'd been on the barra just before he come with us, but it was all different. So yeah, it took a bit getting used to, but yeah, like we come here to Eildon the first night and dropped the big fella. He was straight on the money, and I thought it was all going to happen straight up. And anyway, like true Carl fashion, he saved it till the last little bit and got it done right at the end.
Last
so,
day, hey?
Yeah, we worked hard for it, but we got it done, so it was good.
They'd be all right on the, like those boys would be right on the foot pedal too, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
like
yeah. A couple of times I got down to make a coffee and I spin around and Carl's just taken over. So
cruising.
Yep. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just sit down and let the pros go for a little bit.
Oh shit. You're the only guide on Mulwala? Is that
yeah,
true?
there is one other fella, but he sort of does his own thing a bit more. He's like up the Ovens Valley.
Yep.
He does come down a little bit, but yeah, pretty much just me up there.
What made you decide to start guiding on that place? Because it's pretty unique. Like Mulwala itself, it's not very big. There's a lot of cod in there, though.
Yeah, it's a good spot. So I grew up like Cobram Baruga way, down on the Murray, about 30k from Lake Mulwala. I fished the river a fair bit, but as soon as I fished the lake, I sort of got the bug for fishing the lake rather than the river. And then I put all my time into that. And then I did work in the fishing shop in Cobram for years. And I sort of took a few people out like during that time. And I liked that. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could do this down the track. So I always had it in the back of my mind. And then I probably just worked towards that over the time. And then, yeah, build up sort of the skills and all the business knowledge and stuff. And then just bit the bullet and went for it.
Have you've fished your whole life?
Yeah. There's pictures of me when I was tiny, like holding up a fish with a bait caster. Like I don't even know how old I was, tiny. Probably trawling down this little creek near home in the little flat bottom tinny. Yeah.
Unreal. What made you stay like down here and cod specific?
Oh, something about the cod, I think. Like going back then, it was pretty tough to get them on lures. Like not heaps of people were doing it, so. It was probably just one of those things. Like we did a bit of bait fishing, but as soon as you started using lures, it's just something about it. Like just intrigues you, the cod. Like where they live, you see all these big logs and the big trees hanging over the river, and you're just like picturing what's living under there. So yeah, something about the cod, I think. Like yeah,
they're
cool.
They're a pretty fish, and they're like iconic Australian too. I think. Half the like enticement is, and they get monstrous.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely monstrous. Did you do much river cod fishing?
A little bit, yeah. I did heaps when I was young, and then sort of as soon as I got my licence, then I could move around and fish the river still a fair bit. But then I moved up sort of to the lake, and I just travel back and forwards to that lake all the time, just putting in the time fishing there. I liked fishing the river, but I probably just leaned towards that lake fishing more. But yeah, always wanted to get a big one down the river, and my two brothers beat me to it, bait fishing, and I just kept chucking lures, slaving away. And end up getting a big one, a couple of years ago on top water, so that was good.
Did it take you long to establish regular, like a client base and all of that? Because like you're limited to obviously a season, so you need to like cram as much as you can into that season. I guess.
Yeah. I only have sort of 3 months off, like for that closed season, and then I fill it with sort of chasing yellow belly or redfin and stuff anyway. But yeah, pretty much straight away I had guys like wanting to come back next month pretty much, but yeah, within the first 2 years I had probably half of the guys coming back or wanting to come back at some stage. So yeah, it's been good like that. Heaps of repeat customers. It's really taken off. It's been good. That's good.
Did you have to go like down the rabbit hole when you were first learning cod fishing and all that sort of stuff? Did you have to go right down the rabbit hole of like I already know the answer to this, but like with all like the intricate details of all of it, like the fishery itself, the species, and like techniques, tactics, and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think I probably did a bit, but I don't know. I think just growing up and doing it all the time, I didn't actually think too much about it. Like
you're halfway there.
Yeah, like you just do it naturally. Like even now, there's some days like you'd be sitting outside and I'll just be like, oh, the fish are going to be going. So you just have a feel, and it's like you sort of don't really know what it is, but you just like back yourself and you go out and whack one. It's I don't know. I think it's just like a bit of natural ability that you sort of get from being out on the water all the time or out in the bush. You just pick up on different triggers and stuff like that you attribute to a fish.
Temperatures and wind and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
So I've probably never had someone that taught me. It was more just putting in the time and, being out in the bush and down the river and that sort of thing, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, and you're pretty unique in the fact that, like, when you're not guiding, you're fishing anyway. Like, you don't get sick of it?
Yeah, no, I don't. Like, I love fishing myself, but, like, the guiding part of it, like, I do really enjoy that. Like, that probably takes over more my fishing now. Like, I'd much rather someone else catch a fish than me getting a fish now. But yeah, if I get a day off, I normally sneak out, have a fish myself, or try and go up the river and chase a trout up in the clear water. Just try and mix it up a bit. So yeah.
Do you and you still do you chase, like, do you still chase cod like recreationally as well, or do you rest those fish for your clients?
Oh no, I still do, because like even Mulwala, it's not a massive lake, and there's a lot of logs and lots of different structure and all the stuff, like lagoons and deep, shallow, like so many different spots to go. And I probably still haven't explored it all. Like, only just the other day, I sort of moved through a creek that I'd never been and found a couple of good fish. But just, always exploring and trying to find new spots or work out new tactics or something like that. So, there's always something to keep you interested and keep you pretty busy on it.
With your clients and stuff, are you constantly looking for, like repeat clients? They come back 12 months later, say, or something like that. Are they looking for a new experience? Like, obviously, they're still looking to catch cod, but they're looking for a new experience with, like, fish size, fish numbers. You don't take them to the same spot type thing.
No, we might go to the same spots and stuff, but we might be trying to just target more bigger fish. Like the first trip, we might do a bit of everything and just try to get a fish, and then the next time, once I know what they're like, their sort of fishing ability or whatever, then we can work on chasing the big ones. So it just depends on the angles, and if they come in the summertime or the winter time, we might do different stuff then. And even like the surface fishing stuff, a lot of guys might come just to get the fish, and then we might get them on a swim bait or a spinnerbait or something, and then next time they want to get one on top water. So we do a fair bit of that, just mix it up. But just whatever works too. Like, it's changing every year. Every year there might be a different lure that sort of works. So
Why do you think that is? Like, why you constantly have to change and evolve tactics?
A little bit of the fish. I think they just adapt to, like, in the lake, if the currents and the temperature and the flows change. Like last winter we had a drawdown, so they dropped it by about 1.5 meters. So that sort of makes all the shallows almost out of water. So all the bait moves, and then it might move up the lake or down the lake. So the bait can change. And then that'll change how the sort of fish are sitting or where they are, and then what bait they're chasing and how they actually want the lure. So it changes all the time. Or every couple of months, probably, more than anything.
Do you find a drastic change between summer and winter fishing for cod?
Yeah, fair bit. Even, sometimes it can be similar. And like with the live tech now, you can sort of see that some stuff overlaps, where before we always thought it was completely different. So some things will still work, but there's a fair difference. Just in the water temperature and where the bait stacks up and the bait type. There'll be a lot more smaller bait in the summer, say, and then they're chasing the bigger bait in the winter. So then, you sort of adjust your techniques accordingly to that.
How has your, like, from guiding and being on the water almost 300 something days a year, how has your skill set and knowledge of, like, the fishery and the fish grown and developed?
Yeah, it's probably, like, I probably don't think of it at the time, like, that I've learnt much. But when you think back of all the different scenarios and times you're out, you always pick up on something. So it's a good way to learn a heap more and find out all the little sneaky spots and stuff. But I think over the time, it's developed a lot from where I started guiding even. It's come a long way, but just like being able to talk to clients and then work out like how to communicate properly to get the lure or the rod in the right position to then make it sort of the best situation for them. I've probably got a lot better at that sort of stuff, and that's just practice and time on the water.
Did you find doing this was the business side of it the hardest? Was the client management side of it the hardest, or was the fishing side of it the hardest?
I think people found me pretty easy, and then like as soon as I got a few good clients and then they're coming back, and then that word of mouth was massive for me. But the fish are definitely challenging. Like, that always tests you. Like, mentally, that's the hardest part. Like, every day you might have a couple of tough days. Like, the last few days have been tough, and then all of a sudden you can go out the next day and whack a real big one. So I think just being sort of positive all the time. Like, you never know what weather conditions throw at you, so you just got to be always thinking, like, we're going to catch them, and then go out and try and, like, do the best you can. But yeah, that's probably the main things for that.
Did you do much research onto, like, the cod historically?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I've always been interested in them and looked it up, and you always hear the stories, the old days and that sort of thing. But yeah, there hasn't been as much sort of in the lake. Like, a lot of it's further down the river and that sort of thing. But yeah, like, there's tagging programs just downstream of the lake in the river. And growing up there, you always heard a lot about that sort of stuff. But not as much in the lake. There's not as much historical stuff. But yeah, we've come a long way, like, with the lure fishing and catch and release and that sort of thing. So they've come back a lot. Like, Lake Mulwala are naturally, like, repopulating the lake compared to, say, Eildon, where they stock it. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting like that. So yeah, it's a pretty special spot.
It definitely is. I grew up in the era where, like, my father and grandfather was all drop lines, live baits on, like, tea tree branches and stuff, and you go out there and get a feed. Yeah. And, like, that's definitely not sustainable. I'm glad they've canned that. I don't know. I think they canned it in Queensland a lot later than everywhere else. But and, like, it's funny to think that they were nearly extinct.
Yeah, that's right.
For, like, so long.
Yeah.
And they've come back, and now they're pretty much in every southern dam and river system you can think of. Decent river system anyway.
That's right. They're going pretty well. Like, we've had a few sort of blackwater events and mismanagement sort of stuff, which knocks them back again. And, like, a lot of people are keeping them nowadays as well, and that's nothing wrong with that. There's a healthy population of them, but I think the wide population of it, it's all catch and release. So they're only getting bigger and getting looked after more than ever.
Explain to me the blackwater side of it, just so that people listening, like, what normally happens to have one of those incidents occur?
So normally the blackwater events is like when the water, say, floods an area of bush or an old lagoon, and all the debris, like the leaves and bark and wood and that sort of thing, it sucks all the oxygen out of the water. So then that just makes the water go rotten and black with no oxygen. And then if we get that to flow through, and that might go down the river, and that just sort of chokes out that river part, and the fish can't breathe. There's no oxygen in the water. So you'll see, like, all the crayfish and the yabbies even walking out on the bank and on the logs trying to, like, breathe, and the fish just end up dying. So we're lucky where we are, because we have the flow, and it sort of comes from us more than anything. But yeah, it's just letting the water go at the wrong time, and then it goes down and just chokes out those areas. So, like, Swan Hill, Mildura, all down there, the Darling and stuff like that, they just they can cop it down there.
Do you reckon... Sorry, you going to say something?
No,
I was going to say, the cotton farming stuff, like, have you got any understanding of all that stuff?
Not too much, because that's all a fair bit further west from where we are. But the cotton is coming further down. But yeah, it's just that they use so much water, and then they're sort of taking it before the environmental flows come. So then they sort of introduce the, like, pretty much unnatural environmental flows. And a few times lately they've actually made this blackwater event happen. They might do it, that happens and floods all these areas, but then we get a natural flood, and then that sort of ruins the whole lot again, and just pushes it all down again. So but it's just water use and where it's all going, and getting held up for certain places and going missing. But
it's a crazy catchment. Like, the Murray River itself sort of runs east to west almost. West to east, and then the Darling runs in north to south type thing into it, and then the catchment itself is like, I'm from southwestern Queensland, and that's the very top of the Murray-Darling, like one of the northernmost rivers, and there's cod up there. It's crazy.
It's a massive area.
3 states worth of fishery. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's a big catchment, and then there's lots of issues going on that all sort of come back down and meet in the Murray down there. So it's some areas are pretty fragile like that. So, it'll be interesting to see, like, where it all goes in the future with all that sort of stuff, but you'd hope it's all positive.
You'd think so. Do you think, because the fishing population of Australia has increased, like, exponentially over the last, I don't even know how many years, like 5 or 10 years, say. Do you think there's risk of cod being, like, overfished? I know a lot of people aren't killing them, but a lot of fish are still dying from like lactic acid, and I potentially disagree with like picking a lot of those real big fish up out of the water all the time. But do you think that has a negative effect on it?
I don't think so. Like even, we're out this morning with a guy and we caught a big one that we've caught, like I'm pretty sure that we've caught that same fish like 4 times in the same area. I think eventually it would, because they're just getting caught more and there's more and more people that are getting introduced to it that might not have the knowledge, because it's sort of easier than ever to get into it. There's so much information out there. People can get into it easy and sort of work out how to catch them. And then there was a big boom of, like, say, Murray Cod at a fish market or at restaurants. And then people see that and then they think they're going to go and catch a cod and then cook it up and it's going to taste as good as these farm fish that they find at the fish market. So that had I seen that myself out on the lake, a lot of people asking about the cod and like keeping them and how it tasted. So I think if it was something like that, that could potentially impact how many people keep them. But yeah, probably like 95% of my clients are all just wanting to let them go.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
It is good.
That's good. It's very similar to the barra fishery up north. Excuse me. A lot of the clients that like I go with guiding companies and film for them and stuff, and a lot of those clients like are just happy to catch them, at least they don't take anything. It's hard to travel to. Like, I don't know, where's most of your clients from locally, like Victoria, New South Wales? Are they from all over the place?
Yeah, they'll be from everywhere. Like I've had them come from WA, up Karratha and like Northern Territory. A lot mostly from Melbourne or probably even Sydney. But yeah, Melbourne and regional Victoria would be the most. But yeah, like now they're just coming from everywhere. I've got internationals coming next week, and yeah,
so good.
Yeah. So they just come from everywhere.
That's good.
Yeah, I think cod are getting a bit of a reputation globally now as well. People are seeing a lot more stuff. Like social media is pretty big now, like more than ever. So people are just seeing it and seeing all the fish and different stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Well, it's got like that kind of bass, largemouth bass fishery style of like kind of vibe. Like you're throwing those baits. Like similar kind, well, a lot of the baits that you use for Murray Cod are bass.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
have just been tricked up with better, stronger terminal.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah. So I think people sort of see it a bit like that, the lure fishing and swim baits and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's getting more and more popular.
Do you think you'll ever branch out? Like, do you think you'll put more guides on, or do you think you'll go into like other areas? Because you pretty much Mulwala, Eildon.
Yeah,
at the moment.
I do a few others. Like I'll go to Windermere every now and then, and other places chasing yellow belly, but yeah, pretty much just Mulwala and Eildon are the main two. I don't think I'd be able to get another guide because it's sort of one of those things. It's your own business. It's like you're not sure if someone else will put in the effort and that sort of thing. Like there's plenty of fishing guides out there, but there's only so many like really good fishing guides. So yeah, you got to be a bit careful who you had on. Like it sort of takes the right person. Like there's people that are probably better fishermen than me, but they might not have the skills to like interpret information to a client to then get the client onto the fish.
Yeah.
So I feel like you gotta have a bit of everything to be good with clients and good with the fishing.
I think your daughter just fell off something.
Yeah, I heard a big bang outside then.
I think she's cracking it. I think she's just angry actually.
That's right. She's missing out on the
potty.
lights and the podcast. That's right.
Oh dear, they're funny when they're that little.
Yeah, that's right.
She wants to come see Dad. Look.
Yeah, she's a good age now. She jumped out on the boat with me the other day, and we got a big cod and a yaller out on the boat with her. So she was wrapped, but I think she was more wrapped in the salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, true.
Yeah, she liked them.
And she likes being on the boat. And
she loves the boats. Yep. Can't get her off it.
That's good.
We had her out watching the fireworks on the boat the other night as well, and could hardly drag her off to go to bed. She just wants to stay on there, so hopefully that continues as she gets a bit older.
I'd say it will. Well, she's been fishing forever too. Yeah. In that like backpack carrier. Trout fishing and shit.
Yeah, we used to drag her up in the up the high country in the carrier in New Zealand, and she's done Tassie. I think I've caught like a lot of my big trout, big brim, and stuff like that, all with her in the backpack. So. Yeah, she's like, good luck, chum. Yeah,
loves it.
Yeah, she loves it.
That's good. I think that's a big thing too, like getting your kids into it early and stuff. Like they just think it's part of life. Like they don't think any differently.
That's right. And I take heaps of kids in that on the boat, and a lot of them don't have that much idea because they've never been introduced to it. So they like it all and they love the idea of it, but they might not have like the actual skills and ideas of how to catch them. But yeah, I think if you're introduced early in the right way, that's the best possible sort of way.
At least in a way where you're comfortable on the water or comfortable in the boat and all that sort of stuff, and you know, like the safety bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's right. Getting them on early
stuff.
and yeah, making sure they know where the edge is. They don't just try and step off into the water.
Yeah.
She did that a couple of times early, but she learnt straight away, and now you don't even hardly have to worry.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep, she knows what's going on. So
how have you found being a young dad and then trying to manage a business?
yeah, it's pretty tricky because you're out all day working, and then you get back and you still got to catch up on all the other stuff. Plus, you got to have time with the little one, and yeah, it's sort of just making time. I think like I'm pretty lucky. I've sort of set up the business now. It's all pretty much automatic booking, so I have like a online booking system, and you can get on there and book and see what dates I've got. So that frees up heaps of time, and then you can just book online without having to actually ring me as much. So that's probably saved me a lot of time, and then I can prioritise having a day off or booking out time and then spending that with my daughter, yeah.
That's heaps good.
It's good, yeah. It's a good way to do it. Breaks up the fishing, and then I get keen again, and
Yep.
then good to go. Yep.
Keen to get out of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Do you still fish a few comps too, yeah?
Yeah, little bit. I used to do a heap when I was young, the local ones, and I used to go all right in them, and then for some reason I just sort of stopped getting into it as much and probably just focused on the fishing. Because I wasn't big on social media or trying to win comps just to win them. I probably just focused on the fishing more than anything. But yeah, lately I've sort of done a few more. The cod one's local, and did a couple of yellow belly ones. But yeah, just mix it up. Like then you learn a bit more and learn a few more skills and that sort of thing.
Yep. And you win a fair few, like, don't you?
Yeah.
You win nearly every single one of them.
Oh, well, yeah, the ones at Mulwala, we've won the last two by a fair bit, yeah. That's good.
Are they so? I don't know much about cod comps. I know a bit about barra ones. Are they like social type of comps where there's like a bit of drinking and stuff and socialising at the end?
Yeah. So they haven't based it like an event sort of place a lot of the time. So like at the ski club in Mulwala, they have it there. So it's a bit of a venue and everyone hangs around for a beer and the presentations and stuff. But yeah, because we're local, we sort of sneak away early and go to bed early because we're there. Bit serious. But yeah, no, it is a good social event. Like that's when you sort of catch up with a few of the other guys that only come certain times of the year. But yeah, no, it's good fun. Like it tests you as well. Like it's a bit like the guiding. Like you're under the pump every day, you're out, and then in the comp it's no different. You got to be getting the fish to put on the board.
Plus the fishing pressure of like other people on the water pressuring fish and moving around like boat wakes, all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We had a good one this year in the comp. We because it's in May, like it's pretty cold, and everyone sort of starts. It's like a shotgun start. We all line up and then all go. And the first year we sort of took off. I wanted to get to a spot first, so we're racing up the top. We're like second or third or fourth up the front of the boats, and I looked across at the other boys and they're just freezing, copping the wind. And I said to them this year, we won't worry about racing this year. We'll just sneak across to a little sneaky spot I've got not far from the ramp. So anyway, the gun's gone off. They've all taken off. And we just like idled across. No one saw us. Idled across to a little spot. And dropped the live in. I just jumped on the electric to try and get to the spot. Next thing I look, there's a fish there. And I turned around, my mate's already got the rod. Pete's up the front. I'm trying to hook up my rod, and he's like, "Oh, I've got him!" And then I'll turn around. He's hooked up. 3 minutes in, and he got like 1.11 meters. So that was like, I think it was nearly the biggest fish of the comp.
That's a good kick.
Yeah, in 3 minutes. So that was good. And then we pretty much just we're laughing and carrying on after that. We're like, yeah, we got it again.
Well, that's fucking awesome. And then did I hear you fish a yellow belly tournament?
Yeah, we did one up
at what they existed.
Yeah, so we did the AYC when that was going. We went up to Windermere one spring, and I'd never actually been there, and we just like it sort of worked in that weekend that we'll go, and there was a comp, so we're like, we'll go before it for the pre-fish and stuff, and then do the comp. And yeah, we ended up coming third in that, so that was pretty cool. I'd never even been there, and we just worked out a different pattern. I think just being from a different area and seeing the lake differently, we did a different technique that no one else had sort of done, and then that was what worked. And a few of the other guys caught onto it like the next day, and then they sort of all caught up a bit. But yeah, it was good fun.
And you travel a bit too. Like you only just got back from a big barra trip, eh? Like
Yeah.
You did more than one dam up north?
No, we just went to Mondrian, and then we fished Harvey Bay as well.
Yes. That's right.
Yep. So we did a bit in the salt at Harvey Bay. A bit of fly fishing, caught a few like little mac tuna and good golden trevally. That was pretty epic. Yeah. A bit different than the little brown trout that poker.
They actually you got to put your reel's got to be half okay. It's not just stripping them in.
That's right. Yeah, it's more about like watching your reel spin 1,000 miles an hour, so you don't bust it off. Like I busted one, but it's a whole different kettle of fish. But no, the barra are good. Barra, real cool fish.
Mondrian's a hard dam to fish. It's getting better, I think, like because it flooded like a long time ago now and washed the arse.
I think that was like 10 or 11 years ago that it flooded, and then it's sort of just come back now. They reckon it's as good as it was like before that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fishing good. Like we'd heard some good reports like when we sort of got there, but we didn't have that many expectations. We just thought we'd like might get a few. We were pretty happy to get whatever. And, we ended up, like, getting nearly 100 over a metre, I think. Like, we just lost count in the end. Mm-hmm. We were counting for a fair bit, and then, we got sick of counting. I think we had, like, 3 knots to go, and, like, we were just whacking them. We had 2 boats side by side. The barra nearly jumping into each other's boats, and,
That's incredible. Was it like a time of year? Was it... Like, what was going on? Was there storms around? What was happening?
I don't know. I think a little bit of time of year, but like we were there in between the moons, so it wasn't like the build up to the full like everyone says. Maybe just stable weather. We had good weather when we were there. It was just nice and stable, like pretty much the same every day. And I had some good help, like Matthew Mott at Basta Barra. He come and helped out a bit. Like he brought his boat and we jumped on with him for a bit and mucked around. Because I get all the Garmin gear off Moddy, so then that was sort of like catching up with him. And he ended up getting I bought another sounder off him while I was there, the bugger. But yeah, he helped a heap. So yeah, without him, we probably would have struggled a bit. But yeah, it was off its head. Like they just pull so hard, and yeah, I think we're just at the right place, the right time, sort of thing.
It's a fair hike from here to up there too. What would it be? 15 hours, 16 hours?
No, I think it was like 19 in the end.
19.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So we did it in 2 goes. Like we sort of drove about 10 hours the first day, and then got up early and did like the next sort of 9 or 10 the next morning all through, and then we got there in the Arvo and we had barra that night. Like just after dinner time, we were into them. And it was pretty wild. So I think that'll be on the bucket list again for next year, hopefully.
Have you got any other saltwater goals?
Yeah, I'd love to do a bit more. Like, yeah, there's something about the salt and the fly. Like, yeah, I'd love to catch a permit. Even the marlin, we missed the marlin a little bit. They was sort of hadn't turned up.
Oh, they're early. When did you go?
We were there in November. We were there at the right time, but they just hadn't really...
come down.
Yeah, I don't know. They hadn't been seeing them, so they might have turned up. There was a marlin comp on when we were there just after, so I didn't hear how they went.
You're talking about like fly fishing marlin, like Harvey Bay Flats?
Yeah.
It's
just so smaller ones.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Like I've spoken to a lot of people about it, and I've done a lot of research, and it's been on my list to do, and just never just committed to it, because it's not too far for me to drive down there. It's like a day and a half.
Yeah, right.
A good day and a half. And I've got the boat for it and all that shit, but it has to do with the ocean currents and the time of year, because it's been La Nina. I think the ocean current's closer to the coast and the temperature, so the bait and everything's closer to the coast, because obviously they spawn up north of Cairns, and they grow like crazy fast. They go on a big feeding run down, and they just get caught in the, like, if people have a look at the geographical like footprint of Harvey Bay, they get caught on the inside of Fraser.
Yeah.
And they get
do
shunted.
The loops around in there.
Yeah, they get shunted down into there. And I don't know, like a lot of people say it's deliberate that they go in there to feed, because there's shit tons of bait in there that time of year. Because there's long-tailed tuna on the beach also.
Yeah, it was wild how much wildlife and stuff's
crazy. In there. Or whether they deliberately go in there, or whether they just take the line a bit narrower, a bit closer to the coast, and they get caught. And they fuck around in there for a bit. Yeah,
and they reckon the tides and the current like suck through there real hard. So yeah, I don't know too much about it, but that's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I find marlin super intriguing, because a lot of those bigger fish, and they get tagged and that sort of stuff up north. There's been recaptures and stuff like that, but those smaller to mid-sized marlin that now like off of Port Stephens and shit now, people are getting like, they're like, this season's been incredible. Some of the stuff I've been seeing, the amount of marlin off there. And then, like, yeah, that'll work its way down the coast as well.
That's right, yeah. The big marlin and doing all that sort of stuff hasn't interested me that much. But, yeah, on the fly, I think that's like a different kettle of fish. That'd be pretty epic. Like, I'd love to go and do a marlin trip one day. But, yeah, the smaller stuff on the fly, that sounds pretty epic, I reckon.
I'll tell you where it is fun. I haven't actually caught up with anyone from the Territory, but off of Darwin, off of Dundee Beach, there's a huge sailfish fishery. And there's marlin there as well, black marlin. But, like, small, like 10, 15, 20 kilo, some 25 kilo sailfish, and you chase them on like 4,000 spin reels, for 8,000 spin reels.
Yeah, that'd be pretty epic as well.
Skipping gar and switching them and shit. And we've had days where they're biting on the teaser and they won't let it go. Like, you got to pull the teaser out of their mouth, like fight them for it.
Yeah, right. That's wild.
Just chewing on everything and like coming up in your boat wake and
just so crazy. Like, different fish. Like, old cod wouldn't even keep up to a boat trawling along really, and then you got a marlin that's just flying up. You're going pretty quick.
You're doing like 10, 12 knots.
Yeah, and they're just flying around everywhere.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's hard to believe, really.
It's insane. Saltwater fly fishing's incredible, man. Like, it's one of my favourite ways to fish. Like, actually, I'm not a big fan of like blind casting mangrove edges and all that sort of stuff. Unless there's like you're in a bait ball or there's fish feeding up on the banks and stuff like that, may be different. But I love drifting a salt flat.
Yeah, when you can see everything.
And like a school of golden trevally come in, permit. Chasing tuskies is like one of the most incredible things ever. It's probably my favourite thing to do, I reckon.
Yeah.
I haven't done it much in ages, but
that's definitely on the bucket list for me.
Well,
it's sort of like hunting too. Like,
it is, and it's not as simple as people make out either, because like you do have tide and wind 99% of the time, and they're trying to look for those fish and where they are and stuff. Because tuskies, for example, love high current. So like you might be on a flat, but the tuskies will only be sitting on like a little finger that comes out that's like got current funneling over to a shallow nipple sort of thing. Yeah. And it's like pumping current. There's like a bit of eddy and fucking stuff around there.
And they'll just be tucked in there.
Yeah, and they'll get super shallow. Like the one I got one, I think it went 65 centimetres. And it was half out of the water. It was that shallow. Like we saw it from ages away, like flopping around. Yeah. Half of the fish was out of the water.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I did 2 like dog awful casts at it, and I got it on the third. Yeah. And I got it straight to the boat and then landed it, took the fly out, and then it took off and went under a bommy, and I got it back out like freehand. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have still had the fly in. I can't remember. No, it might have still had the fly in, but I landed it and then got out of my hands.
And then it got out. Yeah, it took off again. Yeah, they look like they're just like dog fighters.
So powerful, man.
Yeah.
Sit there and like shake their head and then just go, nah, I'm out of here, and just like line burn and all sorts.
Yeah, right.
And they're always in like gnarly country. Yeah. Like shale and rock and oysters. And
we seen 2 little ones when I was there. Like, it's like one of those things I'm like, oh, what are you looking for? And then it's just like, as soon as you see them in the water, that like aqua blue glow, just like, oh, I know what that is. Yeah.
You can't miss them, especially like down south of Townsville where we've been. Like, it's all coffee rock flats. Yeah. It's like dark chestnutty brown. And then the blue things, like just chromatic blue blobs. Yeah. Just floating around.
Stand out like anything. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, that's definitely on the bucket list. I've got a few things now. Like, you do a heap of codfish and it's good, but yeah, it's awesome to mix it up. I think after going up this Queensland trip, you see how big Australia is and how much opportunity we got. So yeah, now I'm sort of starting to look a bit more and chase tuskies and these saltwater fish on the fly, and do a few more different things. Would be pretty epic, I reckon.
That's why I love Queensland so much. I think is like it doesn't have everything, but it's got a lot, like from top to bottom. Yeah, you start fishing southeast Queensland, it's a completely different fishery to the tip of Cape York.
Yeah, right.
And you've got the reef the whole way up and down it if you want it.
Yeah, well, it's a massive state. Like, we were up there, we were only like just up, like say Mondrian's 4 hours from Brizzy. And then I'm looking at the map, like say where you were at Townsville. I'm like, oh yeah, how far are we? And it's like, we're only halfway there from Victoria. I'm like, this joint's massive. Yeah,
it's crazy. That's like I talk to people here, like in Victoria. Oh, I've got to drive 2 hours to go to this fucking joint. And I'm like, and what? Yeah. Go like 2 hours to go fishing for the day.
That's
one
right,
way.
just to the boat ramp.
Yeah, it's mad. It's the whole, it's very, very different. And it's different east to west and north to south.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a lot of like super remote country.
Yeah.
I don't know, there would be, like in Victoria, it's more mountains and stuff, I suppose. Like as the crow flies, you're probably not too far from a town, but from where you are to get to a town if you're walking or something is like borderline impossible because of just the country up.
That's right.
In the
it's like big steep hills and gorges and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like you look at the map, Victoria's so small compared to it. Like I start thinking now after driving all that way, you just drive for miles and miles and there's nothing. Where here, like, there might be a big hill, but, not far on the other side, there's a track.
Yeah.
And then there's another track, and then that goes to a town. Like it's pretty small.
Yeah. And that's probably a good segue into hunting and stuff too, because you do a fair bit of that as well.
Yeah, I try to. I haven't done as much this year. I've sort of, been under the pump, and with the little one, it's taken a backward step. But yeah, love getting out the bush. But it's probably more just being out the bush. That's the main draw card, I think. Yeah.
The hunting too is hard, like, because like to make a good go of it, it's hard to go for the day.
That's right. Yeah, you need to be out for a few days at least. Like,
Yeah.
That's
really,
why. Yeah, I love backpacking trips.
Same.
That's me. That's my go-to. Like, I'd rather save up a few days hunting and just like not go for a day and just do a big proper trip up the high country or wherever, backpack in, all your gear on your back, just go exploring. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, I reckon.
I agree. Have you always hunted?
Yeah. Because when I was young, I sort of grew up on the farm, so we always had rabbits and foxes and that sort of thing. And then that just eventually sort of grew into. I got a bow, and then there was a few goats around, and then a few pigs, and then I'm like, oh, there's these deer around here too. Like, growing up where I was, there was no deer around for like years and years, and then you might hear a rumour of one, and then driving around a bit, you see one dead on the road, and then start talking to people, and you're just like, there's deer everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are these things? And then you start chasing them, and you get the bug pretty quick.
Did you bow hunt before you rifle hunted?
Nah. I would have just started with the 22, like.
Yep.
Even I was thinking about it the other day. I was only young as I used to get on the bike, ride down the road to the neighbour's place with the 22 on my back, and just sit on a rabbit warren after school every day, just popping bunnies with the 22 and stuff like that. And then I think just getting close to stuff and that whole experience that got me into the bow hunting. And then as soon as I got a bow, I was like, this is for me. I still do a bit of rifle hunting, but there's something about the bow that's it's pretty epic. Yeah,
you're unique in this aspect that you're a bit of a hybrid. Like you'll do either or either. Normally people are one way or the other.
Yeah,
because I can't get excited about a rifle anymore since I like picked up a bow and got committed to bow hunting.
It's probably one of those things like. I think there's a situation for everything. Like some of the sambar spots that we go, like you could take the bow, but if you only get one or two sort of big hunts a year, it's so hard with a bow.
Yeah.
Like if you're going all the time, it's good. You get the opportunities, but with the gun, like I still enjoy it, but it's not the same as getting in close and the whole experience of it. But I don't know. It's whatever you like. Like some people like the gun, some people like the bow. I just do whatever. It's whatever makes you happy at the time. I think whatever you're chasing.
Exactly. Is that Melanie's phone? She's bombing us for putting our phones on silent. Hers over
that's
there.
Right.
Yeah, and you've done a fair bit of. I'm actually keen to actually ask about this because I've only touched on it with you just in general conversation. Is your backpacking hunts up in the backcountry here?
Yeah.
They interest me. That's why I'm super keen on it. But like you go right up the tops and all that sort of stuff, and you were doing that before it was like a reasonably popular thing to do.
Yeah. I've been doing that for ages. I sort of started early. I did a lot by myself early days, and then getting a few more mates, and then working out spots to sort of go in. But I've been doing that for a fair while now. But I haven't shot that many good deer up there. I've seen plenty, but it just was like that closing the gap and those sort of last minute sort of close calls that you just miss out on. But I still love it either way. Like do that many trips where you don't shoot one, but love it all the same.
I'm exactly the same. That style of hunting and backpack hunting, and you said you do it solo.
Yeah.
Do you find it difficult?
No, a little bit. It's like a bit mental after the first bit, but I think you just get so fixated on what you're doing up there, you sort of forget about all the other stuff. That's why I like it. But just you and your tent, you can go wherever you want and pack up. You don't have to talk to someone else and like work out where you're going. You just go. You just walk and pull up. So it is good. You just gotta have all the gear, be prepared probably, and put your head towards where you want to go and what you want to do, and it's not too hard.
Explain to me the being prepared thing.
Yeah, just having all the gear. Like you need to have the gear. That's probably my biggest piece of advice. Like have a good tent, have good rain gear, have a good backpack. Like the backpack's a massive part of it. Yeah. Like it feels like it cuts your weight in half, I reckon, on your back. And it's like some of those times you might be like just to one ridge and then you just want to go a bit further. But if you don't have all the gear and you can't, like, you can't do it, you're just like, oh, no, I'll just pull up here and you might miss out.
Yeah, and you can go that little bit further and stuff. Like I know we were talking about it at dinner. Like when I go on those backpack hunts, like overseas and stuff, that I film for clients and things. It's like I'm carrying all of that gear plus camera equipment.
Oh, no.
And so,
I don't know
like,
how you do it.
fucking stand machine at the gym.
Yeah.
Stand machine and put 20 or 40 kilos in it and just walk until you can't walk no more.
That's right.
Just put your head down and get real angry about something. And just put like heavy hip hop on, close your eyes and just destroy yourself every day.
I think when I was a bit younger, it was like easy where I'm not that old now, say, but yeah, you can really notice it now. Like if you don't exercise or do something for a little bit, it really knocks you around.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just go and walk up the hills like you used to, but yeah, reasonable amount of fitness and the right gear, you can pretty much go and do it if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like train hard, fight easy mentality is a big thing because I did that. I filmed that Alaska hunt on mountain goat and it was brutal, man. But I went ham for like 3 months prior to it and just like on the stand machine every day, hiking boots every day and everything, and cruel myself. And then it was actually like, it was still brutal, but it was easy.
Yeah, and you know you can push through it because your sort of body's like, you're fit enough. It just hurts and it's tough. You got to push through it. But yeah, if you sort of have a reasonable fitness, you know you can push through it. So it's definitely worth doing, that's for sure. And
the good pack, like I've got a Stone Glacier, I don't even know what, I think it's about 80 litres or something like that. And I switched to that from, like, that's my first decent frame pack and everything like that, and it is incredible.
You can't go wrong with them. Like, it
sits up on your hips.
World of difference.
Man, just not having heaps of weight on your shoulders.
And
everything sitting up on your hips. And then
that's right. The good gear, like good boots, good rain gear, or like even just like good pants that you're getting wet all the time and drying. And like you don't have to spend a fortune on it, but I reckon if it's something that you're going to do a bit, like you have to get into it. You got to have the right gear, like especially you in Alaska or something. You can't have like not the right gear, otherwise you cop it.
Yeah, and it's fun. And like in those kinds of places, it can be life or death. Like if something goes wrong, and your shit's not waterproof or something, and then you get fucking you freeze to death or whatever. Like
it's always good when it's good. Like you can get away with it, but it's just like even here, it can be so. Like just flick of a switch and changes. Like we've been up there and had good forecasts. You walk in like 10, 15, 20K. You look at the hills and you're like, Jesus, big cloud coming. And then you might get on the EPIRB and the phone and have a look and there's like massive storm brewing and like all of a sudden it's 150K winds and snowing and your $20 Kmart tent. Like I've been up there with a mate. He had the old Kmart special.
No.
And the vestibule was like nearly a foot high, like the rain guard over it, and the snow and the wind was blowing so hard it was just coming in under it and just blowing up under the top of his tent.
No.
And he was like, I thought he was going to die. I just had to keep waking up every little bit and yell at him. Yeah, you any good? I wasn't going to let him in my tent. He smelled too bad.
That's the other thing with like buying that cheaper stuff too. It's fucking heavy. Like
and
a lot of the stuff you pay for that lightweight gear is because it's like incredible engineering and it's like super lightweight but incredibly strong.
That's right.
Because that's the other thing that gets you down is like you're carrying 10, 15 kilos of unnecessary crap.
That's right. Yeah. You gotta have it lightweight so you can do it. Like it makes it easier for you. But yeah, it's worth having that for sure, I reckon. Like, because then you can do it, you can push yourself a bit more, and maybe pack a little bit more extra stuff. Like you might get a bit more water, a bit more food if your tent's lighter, instead of the other way where you're slaving and slogging yourself, and you've got like the basics, but all the tent and all the gear. But yeah, it's just so heavy, you lose all that sort of extra room and space.
And that's a big thing for me too, like traveling overseas, is like I'm very limited with baggage. Yeah. It's like I've got an expensive taste, but I like buying things once too. Like you got to go and I have to buy all the best stuff because it's the like lightest and most efficient possible. But then I've got to be able to fit all my camera equipment in there and it's got to be the most lightest and efficient possible. And then I'm still like teetering on the edge of too much baggage.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like $60 a kilo or something to go international.
Yeah.
Like for extra baggage.
That's right. Yeah. So it pays for itself pretty quick. The good gear. Yeah. And it lasts you for ages too. Like
it does.
I found I spent up early days on like say a good tripod for glass, and I've always have a tripod for my binoculars to sit on. But having a good one, like it's so much more stable. Like I've got a $20 backup one, and you sit there and every time you move them, it just about falls over and tips off and then gives you a headache because it's wobbling in the wind. So even just like that, you'll pick up 1 or 2 more deer because your tripod's steady.
Yep.
And it's like good quality, won't break on you. So stuff like that, it all just makes a massive difference. The same as the fishing, like all those little things that you can sort of add up and make it the best you can, you'll get the best results out of it.
Do you re-rig, so say retie a leader every fish, change all your terminal, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I retie the lure on every time and just check the hooks and that sort of stuff. But yeah, as long as the leader's all good. But I always cut that knot because, like, yeah, especially the big fish, they'll stretch your knot and then it might weaken it a little bit. And then the next time you get a big one, you set up on him, set the hook into him, and it just pops like easy. You're just like, what went on? And then you look and, yeah, it was probably your knot just had stretched from that weight and the first fish. And then, yeah, as soon as you pull it tight again, it's just like lost all its...
Ping.
Yeah.
And that's sad too.
Gone, yeah.
There's no worse a feeling than going, I should have retied that.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah. I learnt that early days, like even before guiding, I learnt to do that. Like I was getting good fish sort of consistently before live scope, before I started guiding, and a couple of times, like yeah, you get one bite, you're just like, this is the best. There's still fish, like bait fish jumping, you just like get straight back in there, swim bait in there. Next thing you just like bite and set the hook into it, pop. Yeah. You're just like, what is going on? I just slaved away for that bite and. Yeah, it's always like that sort of she'll be right mentality. Yeah,
always comes on.
And it'd be alright. Like you get away with it, but when you're doing it for a job and you can't really afford to have people miss a big fish, yeah, you got to have everything lined up perfect. Like even good hooks. Like I like using thinner hooks. Have you used those Van hooks before?
Have,
yeah, they're super strong. I've been using them, and they like pin them real
for
good.
Penetration.
Yeah, and like I find the cod don't sort of open them up too much. But just being able to like set the hook quick and have them on and like all the rods and everything lined up properly, like yeah, it makes a massive difference.
It definitely does. And like the right rods, which is like the thing actually I want to talk about anyway, is like it's so hard to find good quality gear for Australian fish. Like a lot of the barrel rods, a lot of the cod rods are all bass rods from the States brought over.
Yeah, yep. I think it's getting better now. Like the Australian market is getting better. Like they're sort of developing their own. But like, yeah, I run the Miller rods with Ian. He's sort of based them all off his custom rods that he used to do for clients and that sort of thing. So they've all got a certain action and to cast a certain lure weight. And that's what I like about them. So I've been running them for a fair while.
And they were designed for a lot of cod fishing because he's Australian.
Yeah. Cod. He's got ones that are more barra, like the brim stuff. He was big in the brim, so he's done a heap with the brim. But yeah, the cod ones, I love them.
And Carl's using a full kit of Miller rods over there for.
Yeah, and he's sort of developed his own range now as well. I think they're more
bass.
Just for the bass. So they're sort of similar to what we have, but they might be a bit more powerful in a certain area of the rod or softer in the tip and that sort of thing. So, yeah, they've worked on that for a fair while as well.
Do you have any G-rig lures and stuff yourself that you muck around? You don't have to give me the secrets, but do you play around with?
Not too much. No, it's just like colours and different stuff, like lure weights, like how quick they sink and so how quick you retrieve's coming back and that sort of thing. But no, not too much. It's pretty much just stock standard apart from, upgrading the trebles and maybe a split ring on the front because I'm not a massive fan of loop knots, whether... I can't tie them that well, but I've had a couple pop on me in the past, and I think it's actually the cod teeth like hitting the knot because they'll eat the whole lure, and then when they're shaking their head and it hits on the knot, and that's like a weak point
already.
Yeah, like where that knot, the loop knot sort of twisted up, if they just hit that with their teeth, it can pop it right on the knot. So then you get popped off and you just pull back and all you've got's like a tiny little tail and they've just popped that knot.
Huh.
So I run heavy leader for that, but yeah, I've just gone to like a split ring on the front of the lure and then I tie like a uni knot or a double blood knot straight to that. So you still get the action, but yeah, you got the strength of it.
Yeah, right. I'm a heavy uni knot fan. I haven't had to chase a lot of cods, but that theory makes sense.
Yeah, and I actually watched a video of these guys on the snapper. They were doing it. They were saying, I think they were the opposite. Like they tied a loop knot so the snapper couldn't bite the knot that was on the jig head, like when they were using for jig heads for plastics. The big snapper, because they were like so powerful, they'd crunch the jig head and bite the knot on the
Oh.
the hook eye and crush the knot and then pop it, like bite against where the line
Yeah.
is wrapped around that hook eye, and then they'd bite through that. Where if you've got a loop knot, they can't like bite the knot, and the loop can swing more freely, and they can't bite it against the hook eye. So yeah, that was one thing I seen, and then that was what made me think more about this loop knot, uni knot thing on the cod.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a heavy loop knot person for barra.
Yeah,
But it wouldn't
yeah.
really apply, I suppose.
Yeah, and well, we used it on the barra. We didn't have any dramas on the barra, so I think that's what I've worked out. It is. It's just those teeth rubbing on that knot. Because we had even the barra, like, they rub through your leader, but we never had any pop the loop knot like that. They might pop it up a bit, just above your knot where their teeth are, but we never had any actually hit the knot and pop it at the knot like the cod do. So yeah, I think it's just the sharp teeth of the cod.
Yeah,
some of them are pretty savage.
The old cod thumb. Do you have much cod thumb?
Oh, not at the moment. I've been being a bit careful. I just wear a glove and eat all the time now.
You would have to, because the amount of cod you'd handle would be, you wouldn't have any skin left. You'd
Yeah,
be back
that's
to
right.
bone.
Yeah, and half the time I'm not picking them up anymore. The clients are catching them and holding them, so I just grab them and unhook them, and then they're picking them up. So yeah, I'm actually pretty unscathed at the moment. I think I've got a couple little ones, but yeah, not too bad.
Circling back to hunting and stuff, have you got any more aspirations for overseas hunts?
Yeah, I'd love to get back to New Zealand. Like, we went to New Zealand this year, chasing the reds. We sort of missed the raw a little bit, but yeah, I'd love to go back, like, in the peak of it all and have a crack. Probably even with the bow, give myself a bit more time and have the bow next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got points for like elk in Wyoming, so I'll go over there at some stage. Probably a couple more years of building up the points, and then I'll go over there. But yeah, I'd be keen for anything. Just keep working away here, and then get over there.
Yeah.
Love to get to the States and chase a few critters around there. But New Zealand's probably high on the bucket list. The red, the tar, even a chamois would be pretty epic, I reckon. Yeah,
I'm due for a bow hunting trip over there, because I was only shooting photos that trip of yours.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you done it like you had a proper physical slog for your stag. Holy.
Yeah, I think I pushed myself a bit too hard. I was one of those ones that you sort of think, oh, I could get there and I could do it. And I've been there before and I haven't done it, where this time I was like, nah, I'm just going to commit to it. And hiked. I think it was like over 12K to get there. You guys were miles away the other direction. I was just like, I'm just going in here. Gave myself a bit of time, got in there, walked past the deer, like a gully over, come back a bit, and then snuck in and ended up shooting him in this tight little steep gully, and got a few photos and did all the cutting up, and walked back out. And I don't think I realised what I was in for, like all the extra weight. Like, I could carry the weight of the normal stuff, but the head and the cape and the meat and all the stuff, like,
You ran out of water too?
Yeah, ran out of water. I was trying to suck water out of the little soaks in the ground that pigs hadn't been wallowing in, and I was just like, I'm going to get sick as here. And running out of food. I'm just like trying to eat like one little lolly or something every couple of meters, and just trying to get up this hill. I can still remember, I could just see on dark climbing up the hill, and there was one sort of like bench before the top. And I thought, if I can get to that bench, I'll be able to see the top, and then I'm pretty much there. And I didn't realise there was another bench in between. So I've gone down this big gully, coming up, thinking these benches above me, get to the top of that bench, only to see that there was like another 2 to go. And that nearly broke me. And I'm just slogging away. I had like the last bit of the hill, and then I could just see you guys coming with the head torches. I was just like ready to fall over. I was about to pass out. I was lucky you guys turned up.
That was brutal, man. That I felt for. I only saw 5 minutes of it, and I was like feeling for you so bad.
And because it was dark, I was by myself. Like, I was just like slogging away. But it was all worth it. It was good. It was pretty epic to think back. Like, especially after you'd done it, you think back on it, and it's like, that was good fun.
That's the best part of hunting too. Like those big backpacky sort of hunts is like, you do them and you're like, oh, that was absolutely awful when you're doing it, and you go back and you talk about it like that, and that's memories that'll like stick with you forever.
That's right. You always remember the hard ones, I reckon.
Yeah.
We had the same on a buffalo hunt. We're up north chasing buff with the bows, and we hiked all the way in. We were going to camp in a spot, and then turned out there was like not much sort of activity there, and we only seen a couple of buffalo. Ended up shooting a good one, but then we're like, there was no water on the lagoon that we wanted, and that was where we were going to sort of filter the water from. And then we're going to run out of water. Like, what are we going to do? So we'll just walk back. So we've walked back, ran out of water. We're trying to drink out of this big croc-infested. It was crystal clear water, but you turn the head torch on, you could just see croc eyes all across. So me and me mate had taken turns. He'd have a drink and I'm looking with the torch, and then he's having a drink. And yeah, it was just wild. And there's buff charging through the bush in the dark and pigs grunting at us. And it was so hot. We were out of water. I can still remember that. I reckon that's the toughest thing I've ever done. Me and me mate, we were that cooked after that. We just exhausted, like, and I was going to drop the buff head off, and I kept thinking, like, this will just save me so much weight. This will be the go. I'll just drop it. And then I'm like, nah, I've got to keep it. I've got to keep pushing away. And anyway, we got there, and that head, yeah, that's pretty special, that one.
Yeah, it's very similar to mine. Was the same. Like, up there in that time of year, it's like, it's that hot at night time. It doesn't make a difference, especially if it's like still and not real windy or anything.
That's right. And the humidity gets you too when you're not used to it.
Yeah, you just wringing wet. You drink like, I take a minimum 3 litres with me a day when I'm up north, like hunting chital or hunting buff and that sort of stuff too. And like my buff that I got with the bow was that, like, just
big slog.
Had a little bit of rain before we got there. I think I've told the story on here somewhere before, but we had a bit of rain before we got there, and it just like put little green shoots up everywhere.
Yeah.
So everything was scattered off water.
Yeah.
Because that time of year, late in the dry season, like everything's on water. It's the only place where shit's green, and so like took us ages to find buffalo, and then we finally found some, and then we were sort of like low on foodish, whatever, and then there was like a cow and calf, and I was like, we'll shoot the calf, and then we'll take some meat home and have some meat for dinner and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And then I was just about to, I dropped my boots, dropped my pack to go put a stalk on it, and then my mate's like gave me a bit of a signal, and he's like, look over, and you could see this like big sweeping horns like walking through the grass ages away, and there was a bull there, and he nearly walked on top of me. It was fucking crazy close.
Yeah, they're wild critters, eh?
Man, so good. And then walking him out would have been, I don't even know. It was a fair hike. And like I had a shitty pack at that time and shitty boots that weren't suited to my feet. Man, my back and my heels were just bleeding. It was just nasty.
Yeah. But you can remember all that, like so much more than one that you just like shoot and then maybe walk a little bit, get to the car, come pick it up or something like that. Yeah, you always remember the hard ones, I reckon.
That was impossible. That was walking back out to a boat to jump in the boat and then go back down the flat. So yeah, it was a mish. It's worth it though. I've still got it on my wall, like the head of.
That's right, and that's what it's all about. Like, you keep it. You take a bit of meat to the local guys up there, and keep the head, and then you remember those trips and those experiences. That's what it's all about.
I'm glad I didn't cape it because it probably would have killed me.
Yeah, the old buffalo capes are bloody heavy.
Like 20 mil thick.
Yeah, I didn't keep any of mine because like we took more of the meat, so it was more just cutting the meat out and feeding the local fellas up there that were helping us out. But yeah, me mate, he shot a kraken when we were up there, the same sort of area. I left, I'd just gone back after work, and then he shot a massive one with the bow, and he caped that. And his walkout would have been brutal. Like, he sent me all these pictures, and I don't know how he did it. He's smaller than me too, but it was like, I think at the time it was like the second biggest buff on the trophy takers.
Oh wow!
Thing, it was a real big curled in bull. It was pretty epic. I think we'd actually seen it when we were hunting a few days before, and then we couldn't get to it. And then the next time he went, he found it.
Just score it?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
It was. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I can't remember, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty epic, like real big curled in one. It's not like the big straight wide one, but it was pretty cool. It was an epic trip. Like, anyone that wants to get up there, you need to get up the territory. Like, even like you're saying, like the trips you always remember up there, I reckon. They're epic.
And there's so much, like, it's so huntable too. Like, if you've got the access.
Yeah.
It's so huntable. Like, I've got traditional owner access up there that I'm going to try and do a big trip, probably 2 or 3 weeks worth drive up there and that, and try and knock over a couple of good buff. And then there's pigs like out the wazoo. Yeah. And local people like shoot geese and like magpie geese and that sort of stuff. It's just a whole experience, just going to those communities and stuff. It's like a whole nother world.
That's right, yeah. I loved it up there. Like, I could have kept working up there, I think, if I didn't have the misses, but I'm glad I sort of stuck around back here.
You get trapped there pretty easy.
Yeah, yep. No, it was a good spot. It was it was good fun. It's a different world up there, the
It
fishing and
definitely
the
is.
hunting, and it's just different experience, different culture. It's something, you got to experience.
Yeah, it's very different, and it's so disconnected. Like I find a lot of people that talk about Indigenous people from down here have absolutely no clue. Like even Indigenous people, I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of Indigenous people from down here don't have a clue of how it is up there.
No, that's right. It's so different, and because I'd never experienced that. You get up there, and it's so different to what you think compared to down here. It's a different world.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, and there's goods and bads in it all. But like the people there are incredible. The people on Community,
That's right. Yeah,
are incredible. Like I shoot school photos.
I've seen some of those photos you did. They're the kids are just wild. They're so happy. They don't have that much, and they're just so happy with everything.
Yep.
Like jumping in croc-infested water, and you're just standing on the bank. Oh yeah, we had it heaps. Like we had a big beach that we'd look over when we'd drive to where we were working, and there's like 100 kids swimming every morning in the salt in the ocean. And every morning we'd go to work like early when they're still in bed, and there's this massive croc just swimming across the front, and you're just like, I wouldn't even touch that water.
No.
And then there's all these kids just having a ball in the water. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it.
And I'm not sure if many get taken, but like you don't really hear of many get taken.
No. I don't know whether
crazy.
it's just that we're a long way away and they do, and then it doesn't get said.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd say they'd have to, like the amount of crocs and stuff up there and close calls and
And the lack of like access to anything.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
You're a long way from a hospital.
Yeah.
Phone service, all of it. Like it's crazy.
Yep. It's a wild world up there. It's good.
Yeah. Holy, we've been going for an hour already.
Really.
Unreal.
Plenty of good stuff to talk about.
There is. Have you done any other overseas hunts?
Nah. I've only been to New Zealand like the time before this year.
You were trout fishing then, weren't you?
A little bit. We went there for the honeymoon, and I wasn't allowed to take a fishing rod.
Dog.
Yeah, I know.
She's not inside.
Yeah, she can't hear me. But no, it was a good trip. I chilled out a bit, so it was good. But then had to come back and take the rod and the gun. But no, I haven't been anywhere else overseas hunting. I've been over to America and more just like holidaying and stuff. But yeah, haven't been over there hunting, but definitely on the bucket list.
Are you open to like what do you want to hunt there? Or you got specific goals in mind?
Not really. Mostly the elk and a mule deer, probably like a high country mule deer would be pretty epic, I reckon.
Yeah.
But even some of these fallow that you've seen pop up, like Bulgaria and all that sort of stuff, that's epic.
I was seeing Nick Morton went to Italy not long ago, actually, in the rut, and it's just like it's the weirdest forest. It's like just all trees and nothing on the ground.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Man, there's some beautiful bucks there fighting, and like don't even give a shit. Like walk straight past you and sort of croaking and carrying on, and like proper trophies.
Yeah, I think none of that stuff really interested me that much because we've got the good fallow here, but they're just next level good up there, and it's like that whole experience too. Like we're saying with the territory, like you go overseas, you might take your bow or your rifle or whatever, and it's just that whole experience. So I think something like that, just a different species, a different place, different experience. Yeah, it'd be epic. Like I'd just do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I could go. I don't really care about shooting anything either. Like
Yeah.
I've got a stone sheep hunt. I'm filming on for a client in British Columbia in July, August.
Yeah, that'd be epic.
This year.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a mission, like a proper physical mission. But like just to like I'll be one of the few people that see those animals. Like when you think of the band, like a lot of people have seen them and hunted them and stuff, but like the percentage of actual people compared to the world population that have seen stone sheep, they're rare as fuck.
Right.
And like bighorn sheep interest me massively.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to do that. Would be my goal if I was going to pick a hunting goal. It would be to get every species of bighorn with the bow.
Yeah.
That'd be my goal.
Yeah, the sheep are cool. Yeah, there's something about them too. It's sort of like the tahr in New Zealand, like where they go. But yeah, definitely sheep. If I could work up to getting there, that'd be pretty epic, I reckon.
But like getting the tag from is like borderline.
Yeah, that's right. That's the fun part.
I'd need 3 lifetimes before I could get a tag. But that'd be epic to pick. But even mountain goat are like crazy.
Oh yeah,
and they're massive.
Yeah,
man.
that's right.
They're huge. They're way bigger than you think. And like these big white animals on the side of like a black shaly mountain.
Yeah,
like,
where
what are
they
you even doing up there?
Yeah, you can't even believe how they get there.
No.
Like, and then how you're going to get there and try and skewer one with the bow.
Man,
it's a big ask.
They're very goaty, like stupid.
Oh right.
They sort of like just look at you and like they know you're there, and then they'll just like walk around the other side of the peak.
Yeah.
So like you can and they just walk around there in bed. Like you could just, if you could get, the problem is getting to them. Because I think they look at you and be like, good luck.
Yeah,
like, trying to get over here, you'll die.
Yeah. And it's different to us here too. Like all our animals here pretty much get hunted every day or every second day, like the deer and the pigs and everything. So they're always on to everything. Where over there, they're only got seasons and there's only limited time and tags. Like they're pretty safe most of the year. So a bit different than the critters here.
I think mountain goats in spring and summer and stuff are just like, nothing's going to get in, not even a bear, man. Like
that's right.
Or a wolf. Like we're fine.
Yep.
And they'll just look at you and be like, no.
Yeah. No, it's pretty epic. I'd love to get over there and do it, but it's just the time and money and.
That's the hardest thing with your own business too. Is like.
That's right.
Trying to find a balance of when and like what to do and what not to do and all that sort of stuff. And like you go and take 2 weeks off, and you think you can put everything in place for your business and have that 2 weeks off, and then you come back. Then you've got to catch up on that 2 weeks just gone, and then like get momentum again for following up. It's difficult, especially as a sole trader like yourself. It's super difficult.
And any time off, like you got to book so far ahead now. Like people are so organised. Like I'm nearly booked up for Christmas already next year, and we've only just gone past it. So even I've got to be more organised to book my own time off. Yeah, because it just gets so hectic. But you just got to make it happen. Yeah,
you do, and that's the biggest problem. Like people are like, we were talking about it today at the counter. Like it's Sunday, and I've been on the computer pretty much all day planning for this expo and business stuff and trying to do emails and all that sort of shit and traveling and trying to organise podcasts and everything. But if you're not willing to sort of put that time in on, like, it doesn't matter if it's a Sunday.
Nah, that's right. Nah.
Sunday's as good as a Wednesday. It depends what time you've got. Like.
That's right. And people don't always see that too. It's like hard because you're doing it all like by yourself, like just at home. No one sees you working all the time. They just see the other side of it. But you just got to keep at it. That's the main thing, I think.
Yeah, and like just the amount of time it takes to do like admin.
Yeah,
for example, it's like it takes fucking ages, man.
That's
to
right.
do it.
Yeah,
and you think like you add all those little 10-minute jobs up to the course of like a week or two, and then all of a sudden it's like you've lost half your week just to doing emailing people or making phone calls or taking notes or not even filming and editing. Or taking
that's
photos
right. Yeah,
planning jobs like just quoting things and
all the fun stuff.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and forecasting and planning all that sort of stuff. Hi.
That's right. Oh, here's the beautiful girls.
Hi. You going to bed? Do you want to talk on the mic?
You want to talk to that? You say hello.
And sing a song.
Are you a bit tired?
That's all good. We can wrap this show up anyway.
Yeah. That's right. Thanks, mate. That was buddy. That was good.
Good fun. Chat. Well, there'll be many more of these, I'm sure.
That's right.
We cross paths quite often.
Yeah. Anytime that we sit down and have a whiskey and talk fishing and hunting, it's good fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll leave you to daddy duties.
That's right. Yeah, I've got my hands full now. Look out.
Thanks heaps for your time,
thanks,
man.
Thanks, mate. Bloody legend.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.